Terran's communication unit chimed with urgency, waking them both. They'd fallen asleep on the couch, a respectable distance between them despite the intimacy of shared dreams. "Commander," came Admiral Halstead's voice, "rogue elements have attacked the peace delegation. Both sides blame the other." Eloria stood, crest flaring with alarm. "Will hostilities resume?" "Not officially," Terran assured her after ending the call. "But extremists from both sides are inflamed. The treaty is fragile." The news shifted their household dynamics. Terran worked long hours while Eloria monitored Sethian communication channels. Their evenings were spent analyzing intelligence, shoulders touching as they pored over reports. One night, their analytical distance collapsed. As Terran outlined protection protocols, Eloria reached for his hand. "You fear for my safety," she observed. Yes, his admission was simple but profound. "Why?" Terran's gaze held hers. "Because you matter to me, not as a responsibility or symbol, but as Eloria." The confession hung between them until she closed the distance, her lips meeting his in a cautious exploration of unfamiliar territory. The kiss deepened as months of unspoken feelings found expression. Later, wrapped in darkness and each other's arms, Eloria traced the scars on his chest. These were from Sethian weapons. "And yours from Terran," he replied, fingers gentle along her shoulder. "We should be enemies." "We were, now we're something else entirely." Their newfound intimacy was interrupted 3 days later when the security perimeter alerted them to intruders. Terran reached for his sidearm as the front door exploded inward. "Traitor," Bryce led 3 armed figures through the smoke. "Fraternizing with the enemy warrants execution." "This isn't sanctioned," Terran realized, positioning himself before Eloria. "The true patriots of Terra can't allow Sethian sympathizers to contaminate our victory," Bryce spat. What happened next stunned everyone. Eloria launched forward in fluid motion, disarming the first attacker before anyone could react. Her combat training, elite Sethian special forces, became evident as she incapacitated the second assailant. Terran engaged Bryce while Eloria subdued the third intruder. When Bryce managed to level his weapon at Terran, Eloria threw herself into the line of fire. The blast caught her shoulder, but she still delivered a disabling strike. As security forces arrived, Terran cradled Eloria. "Why?" he demanded. "Why risk yourself?" Her blood stained his hands silver blue as she smiled weakly. "Because you earned what you never demanded, my loyalty, my heart." In the medical facility, Admiral Halstead visited them personally. "Commander Bryce's faction has been neutralized," he confirmed. "Though I'm concerned about your attachment to your Sethian." Terran held Eloria's hand openly. "Her name is Eloria Navrine, and she's not mine. We belong to each other." After the Admiral departed, they faced the truth their actions had revealed. "This changes everything," Terran murmured against her crest. "It already was changed," she replied. "We were simply catching up to our hearts." The joint Terran-Sethian Council chamber fell silent as Terran and Eloria entered. 6 months after the attack, they'd become reluctant symbols of what peace might truly mean. "Commander Voss, Specialist Navrine," the Terran chairwoman acknowledged. "You understand this proposal is unprecedented." "As is our perspective, Madam Chairwoman," Terran replied, standing tall beside Eloria, whose formal Sethian military garb complemented his Terran uniform. The Sethian elder leaned forward. "You suggest a mixed-species diplomatic corps. Many believe our differences are insurmountable." "With respect, Elder," Eloria addressed her former superior, "we once believed the same. Experience proved otherwise." Their proposal, creating integrated teams to address post-war reconstruction, faced resistance from hardliners on both sides. Yet their personal testimony held power that political rhetoric couldn't dismiss. "When Commander Voss first received me as a battle prize," Eloria explained, "I expected cruelty disguised as mercy. Instead, I discovered our supposed differences exist primarily in our perceptions, not our spirits." Terran continued, "We fought a war based on misunderstanding and resource competition. The cost was devastating for both civilizations. We propose a different path forward." As the council deliberated, Terran and Eloria retreated to a private chamber. Their relationship, now openly acknowledged, still drew stares, but increasingly of curiosity rather than condemnation. They fear what we represent, Aloria observed, her hand finding his. Change always frightens those invested in the status quo, Terran replied, bringing her fingers to his lips. She smiled, an expression she'd adopted from him. Remember when I insisted I must serve you by Sethian tradition. And now I serve alongside you by choice, a far stronger bond than obligation. When the council reconvened, their proposal passed by narrow margin. They would lead the first joint diplomatic mission to the contested outer colonies. That evening in their shared quarters, Terran presented Aloria with a small wooden box containing two identical medallions, half Terran insignia, half Sethian crest. Not traditional for either culture, he acknowledged as she examined them with wonder. Perfect, then. She placed one around his neck, then allowed him to do the same for her. We are creating our own traditions now. As she pulled him close, their foreheads touching in the Sethian gesture of profound connection, Aloria whispered, "The universe expected you to break me, but instead you helped me become whole, and in doing so, found your own completion." From battle prize to partner, Terran mused. From enemies to beloved, she finished, using the sacred Sethian term reserved for soul bonds. The greatest victory isn't won through conquest, but understanding. As their ship departed the following morning, they stood together on the observation deck, watching their two worlds diminish against the vastness of space. Before them lay uncertainty, resistance, and prejudice, but also possibility. "Are you afraid?" Terran asked quietly. Aloria's hand found his, their fingers intertwining despite their different forms. "No," she answered with certainty. "Fear requires doubt, and I have none, not about us." Together they faced the stars, no longer bound by the chains of war, but by something far stronger. A love that had transcended hatred, overcome suspicion, and now offered hope to two civilizations learning that the greatest strength comes not from dominance, but from unity born of respect. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.